Good day. This is Chief Coffee Chat. No, I haven't done one of these in a while. I just recently got back from the Ukraine, believe it or not, so I'm going to probably do 2 or 3 on my trip to Ukraine. Why I went to the Ukraine, I haven't been there since 2021. I almost flew there February 2022. And my departure date of leaving Ukraine back then was the same day that the war started. Even though I had a 6 a.m. flight out of Kyiv, they closed the airport at 5. So I would have been in that mass panic to vacate the country. I don't know if I would have panicked. My friends who run the hotel that I stay at, she did depart with the 2 younger children. They're 2 boys. She left the country and they went to Switzerland. And the boys are still there from this trip. I was hoping to see the boys, but they said, oh no, the boys are still in Switzerland. And, but only I got to see the husband because the wife was busy elsewhere in western Ukraine getting ready for a trip to go visit the boys, and they're also going to shut down the hotel the day before I left. So I went to pay my respects because the husband of the hotel, his father recently passed away from cancer. So he was not a war casualty. Now the hotel I stay at is in the southern part of Kyiv. And throughout my stay, I only heard 2 sirens, but only one down there. Or actually, I heard 3. I heard one down there, but it was in the distance. And what was really strange is on this trip is everywhere I went, all the connecting flights, I kept bumping into Americans. And there was also another American male staying at this hotel, and he was involved with dental program. He was there to observe, I guess, some children are possibly getting messed up in the faces and stuff like that and having to get their mouths rebuilt. I don't know. I didn't go into much detail. I didn't ask him that, but he was just basically saying that there are some procedures that they are practicing in Ukraine that where he works stateside, they are interested in. So it was nice to see another fellow American. He stayed. He stayed for most of my trip there too. He left like about 4 days ahead of me. So like I said, stayed at my hotel, the same place I stayed back when COVID hit. I was there for 3 months instead of 3 weeks as I originally planned. That's a whole different story. I only went downtown once, down to the Maiden Square, but I guess they did not have any of the tanks down the main drag anymore. All the wrecks were removed because I don't think they had much of a parade or celebration for their Independence Day on the 23rd of August. So I went downtown to the Maiden Square. I went to actually look to find if I could see the tree, because in the video about the Maidan Revolution, there is a tree up the road that you walk up this road where they were trying to get to one of the government buildings one day, the protesters, and they were being picked off by snipers. And if you watch this documentary, what was it called? The Winter War, the War Winter. There's a guy lying, stooping near a tree, and you see the bullet strike some of the bark off, and it's also the same bullet that hit and killed him. But this tree that was back in 2013-14, and by now the tree is healed a little bit, but there was a memorial near that tree, so I got to see that. I didn't take any pictures of it. I am not the type of person that likes to take pictures of sorrow, so to speak. So I mean, yeah, there's a memorial there. I'm not going to take a picture of it. I did take a couple pictures of some other thing that they erected for the fallen 100 during that revolution. And also, while I was down there in the square, very little foot traffic, and I was there on a Friday, so very few people. It was really strange, and because the videos I've been watching lately show like normal crowd when I was there previously, you know, for the COVID experience. And there was a unit that had a motorcade beeping their horns, blaring out, waving their flags, showing placards of the unit. Didn't really notice any pictures per se being hung out of the cars, but they parked and then they all got out of their car, and then they started setting up all these easels, and then I guess they put up their fallen numbers. Again, should I have taken a picture of that? No, because I'm not going to take pictures of sorrow, so to speak. Because also down in Maiden, where they plant flowers in these flower beds that they actually have down there, they were filled with nothing but Ukrainian flags, big ones, small ones, unit flags for all the fallen. Too many to count, and not that I'd want to count them anyway. So, and they supposedly have a wall of remembrance. I don't know if it's just for these soldiers or civilian and soldiers. Didn't go to that. I saw it on a video when one of the foreigners came to visit Zelensky. It's strange that I go to a war zone to find peace, which I did, because during my 3 months of COVID, I was more or less confined to this hotel for the greater share of that time, because at first over in Ukraine when COVID hit, they didn't want old people out. Well, I got gray hair and I had a hard time hiding that, because you don't want to wear a hood when the temperature is too hot. I mean, you're hiding something if you're wearing a hood in the heat. And but after a while they relaxed that rule, and old folks could get out of the house to go grocery shopping and stuff like that. So that was my normal daily activity during that time. I went for a few hikes this time just to see some of the stuff that I've seen before. Like I said, the area where I was at, I didn't see any damages to any of the buildings. I did have to spend one night at a hotel right next to the train station, and we had a air raid. Oh, the sirens went off that night around midnight, and only 8 of us out of this big hotel went down to the shelter, which was not really a built shelter. It was kind of like a storage in the basement, because there was a big ramp to drive down into this thing. So were we safe? I don't know. They could have, anything that can suck air would have sucked all the air out of where we were sitting. And it was cold, and I didn't go down there prepared. I forgot to make my go bag to, take my personal stuff and a blanket. So I think we were down there for about an hour before all the phones started ringing for the all clear. Didn't hear a single thing. No shooting, no missiles flying overhead or anything like that, or drones. And then the day that I was leaving, I had took the night train to get into Kyiv, and had to take the night train to get back out of Kyiv. I didn't take the day train. And we were in old Soviet stock railroad car, four berths per section of this car. And what was really strange is that my incoming trip, I shared it with 2 females. And one of the females, the one I talked to, because she's the only one that spoke English, and thanked me for speaking English with her because she needed the practice, so to speak. And she was the one that told me about Charlie Kirk dying, because I was in transit on the 10th. And she goes, her main concern was saying that he was an agitator against the Ukraine war, and I said no. I said he just didn't think that we should support or send as much support. I said he didn't preach it. He just would tell people that we need to not spend as much, but that's just his opinion, and she finally understood. I said he's mostly for his Turning Point organization. And she was fun to talk to because she was Ukrainian, living in Brussels, running her business from Brussels, but she had workers in Kyiv, so she would go once a month to go pep talk with them and show that, you know, hey, I'm part of you guys, so to speak. And yeah, that was strange. And then taking the train back out, so I had time to kill because, like I said, I checked out of the hotel at noon, so I had like about 7 hours to kill. So I just sat near the train station along with everybody else, watching groups of people come sit along the wall of this train station in the shade, and then as it got time for them to go to their trains, they would leave, and then more people would come. So it was a constant flow of traffic. Plus, I also like to people watch, and had a siren go off. No, nobody ran, nobody panicked. And what was really strange, when I got to Warsaw for my overnight, and the next morning I was talking to a group of Ukrainians that were on their way to the airport also, and they said, yeah, you said at first we all ran and panicked every time we heard an air raid siren. He says, now, siren goes off, we look up, we look for drones, we look for missiles, we look for our planes, our helicopters, and we don't see nothing, we don't panic. And didn't really hear an all clear on that one. What else do I want to talk about with this? So I got a couple more things to talk about, so I think I'll have to do that in another video. But I'm home, I'm safe, I'm sound, a little bit skinnier because I also went there to not eat as much, and I didn't. So I'm back. I'll have another one. Maybe I'll do another one on Sunday. I don't know how many of these I'm going to do about my trip to Ukraine, but we'll see. So this is Chief. Freedom's not free. Ukrainians are proving that. We proved it numerous times ourselves. And now I'm like my mother. We need to stop fighting. Even though that's what I did for 28 years of my life, was prepared to go to war. And yes, I don't mind that the War Department became the War Department, not the Defense Department. Defense. Sounds like we're waiting for something to happen rather than War Department, where we're anticipating something to happen. So I don't mind the main name change. Always bothered me why they did that too. So once again, this is Chief. Freedom's not free. See ya.